Well, it took a little while, but Rutgers gets the first win of the day. And with that, we welcome you to Iowa City, where the Iowa Hawkeyes have been driving early on, and Caitlin Clark takes the first three-point attempt. That's a miss. Mike Hall and Brenda Van Langen here as we are watching two red-hot teams. Iowa has won 9 games in a row. Minnesota has won 8 games in a row, and both teams have been dominant, winning by more than 25 points in that winning streak apiece.
Yeah, both coming off the holiday break, but bringing so much momentum into this game.
Caitlin Clark's got her second layup of the day, and one of the things we heard from Lisa Bluder is they want everyone driving as many points in the paint as they can get today, because they'd love to see Minnesota get in some foul trouble.
Yeah, and this is a team in Minnesota that defends well without fouling, but the Iowa offense wants to put some pressure on them.
Mara Braun rips it from deep, but it's well offline, and here comes Iowa. Braun then bats the ball away.
So already we've seen Caitlin Clark drive into the paint a couple of times, dicing through the defenders. It's so hard to keep her in front and to help defense just a little bit slow coming over, and Clark's already gotten into the paint twice for scores.
And Marshall gets the loose ball, and that's a traveling.
And a little bit of pressure and mix-up from the Minnesota defense. They jumped out on the ball screen on Clark, forced a tough pass there, forced a turnover.
This is strength on strength. Minnesota's defense so good. Number 1 in the Big Ten, giving up 54 points a game, while Iowa averages 90 a contest. That's number 8 in the country.
And since Iowa lost that game to Kansas State in mid-November, they've been averaging over 94 points per game.
(6-2) Iowa early on here at a sold-out Carver Hawkeye Arena. Every single home game this year a sellout for the Hawkeye women's team. Hannah Stuelke right down the lane.
And that's exactly what Lisa Bluder wanted to do. She wanted to bring Stuelke out so that it brings Sophie Hart, the 6'5" defender from Minnesota, out away from the basket. They took advantage on that play.
This is a Maya battle. Points are hard to come by for Minnesota early on.
And they're having a hard time getting into any kind of rhythm here, and they know they have a lot to deal with the environment, with the style of play that Iowa has, and just trying to get adjusted.
Caitlin Clark connects from deep, her first three-pointer of the day. And just like that, a timeout for the Gophers. Only a few minutes into action, and the more than 14,000 fans here in Iowa City are letting them hear it.
Stuelke off the ball screen here is able to slip to the basket to score, and Iowa has been on fire inside and of course out. Caitlin Clark burying the first 3.
Great start for the number 4 team in the country as Iowa up to an 11-2 lead. Glad to have you with us here courtside at Carver Hawkeye. Brenda Van Langen and Mike Hall here with you. This is a potentially thrilling game because we're going to see 2 superstar players. You know all about Caitlin Clark for obvious reasons, but Mara Braun is scoring the ball at a fantastic pace this season.
Yeah, we're going to see the top 2 scorers in the Big Ten Conference today on the court. And the fact that Mara Braun has an opportunity to measure up against Caitlin Clark. Braun, just a sophomore, has improved so much even since last year, but she knows this is an opportunity to be on the same court as Caitlin Clark and show what she can do.
Just like with Clark, it is not only a one-person team. That was Sophie Hart scoring inside, one of the many players who stepped up this year for Minnesota. Sydney Falter, one of the players who stepped up for Iowa with an early 2.
And this is really interesting because Minnesota has been good defensively this year. They've been really good at keeping teams out of the paint. But Iowa has been in attack mode here early and really gotten to the heart of this Minnesota defense.
Iowa has made 6 of their first 7 field goal attempts. The Maya battle. Pull up. And Kate Martin with the rebound. Hawkeyes are all over the boards today.
You know, they are out-rebounding their opponents by 11 rebounds per game. And it's something that when you can keep your opponent off the board and not allow them to get easy baskets, that's what Iowa's doing now, getting an extra chance, even though they've made so many.
Kate Martin drills it from deep, and that whole thing happened because Hannah Stuelke kept the play alive.
Absolutely. And you're expecting they're making their baskets, right? They're making their shots early, Iowa, and then they miss one and they go get the offensive board.
A falter with the rebound. The Hawkeyes coming the other way. Gabby Marshall from deep. You know, you talked with Dawn Plitzowite yesterday about this game. She said with the huge atmosphere, you wonder if this young team gets a little too energized as we finally see a nice offensive possession there from Braun.
And that's Braun just taking her time and getting a good look at a shot. They just haven't found a rhythm yet. There is so much to contend with when you're playing against Iowa, and this young team having a little bit of a hard time just getting into a rhythm.
Ball not bouncing their way. That rebound was off a Hawkeye, however, so it'll stay here with Minnesota.
The battle, Stuelke keeping the ball alive, saving it inbounds, and then the unselfishness. Finding the open player, Kate Martin ready to pull the trigger. She's been so good over the last 9 games for this team. And when Iowa is sharing the basketball, Caitlin Clark got things going early, but rebounding, sharing the ball, everything going right for the number 4 team in the country so far.
Hawkeyes bringing Kylie Feuerbach, who fires right away. Going up for the rebound is Sharon Goodman, who came into the game. Again, it'll stay right here with the Hawkeyes. And Iowa showing their depth early on by bringing in players like that. Lisa Bluter really likes the depth on this.
She likes the depth. She likes the way that a Falter has been playing off the bench. She likes the way Goodman has been playing as well. Feuerbach, and she really sees that as an advantage in this game.
Again, the ball will stay here. That's the 3rd or 4th time this possession. The ball's been knocked out of bounds under the hoop.
When we talked to Lisa Bluter at shoot-around today, she talked about attacking, getting to the paint, really putting the pressure on this Minnesota defense.
Clark will fire. Caitlin Clark already with 2 3-pointers. She gets a couple more. She's going to be 3rd in Big Ten history in made threes.
Just creating her own space, what she does so well.
Valerie Heyer, you can see it when it left her hands. It's offline. A falter in traffic. Rebound to Nehemiah Holloway. 19-6, smoldering start for the home team. That's Braun showing what she does best.
So what's worked well for Minnesota so far is when they went inside early and Braun off the dribble. Everybody else seems to be rushing their shots. Now, when Battle can get in a passing lane like this, try to create something in transition, that's a positive sign, but she's been a little hesitant so far. Needs to just attack without hesitating.
She pulled up about 5 feet away from the hoop, missed the second one. Here's a look at Dawn, by the way, Plitzowite in her first year with the Gophers. I mentioned this earlier, but she was curious if her team could play relaxed in front of basically 15,000 people. Wants to slow the game down for them, which is tough to do because this is a really, really young team. They have 10 underclassmen at Minnesota.
And they all have very high basketball IQ. You have a lot of smart players out here from Minnesota. They know exactly what they're up against. So can you match all of that information that is in your brain about what you need to do to try to take away the strengths of this incredible Iowa team and the atmosphere and everything else about it and still play calm? It's very difficult to do.
Miscommunication with Goodman and Clark there leads to a turnover. Janae Sanders bringing the ball up.
Well, Sanders is a good backup point guard for Battle. She played at App State, a terrific guard at that level. And you see, just maybe to get Battle to calm down a little bit on the bench, bringing in Sanders and seeing her do what she can do with the ball.
Sanders just takes it right to the paint and scores. Molly Davis left open in the corner. A falter with the board.
She stays so active, doesn't she?
Yep.
I mean, she was being blocked out, and then a beautiful pass inside.
Sharon Goodman has been scoring so much more this season than she has the previous 2 years. She had 110 points this year already, 134 her first 2 years combined.
You know, of course, she's playing behind Sonano last year, right?
That affects your minutes a little bit.
That and the fact she was coming off an ACL injury. So now is her time, and she is taking advantage.
Sanders can't get the short shot to fall this time. Goodman with the board. Clark's already in double figures today. Spinning in the paint, gets the roll, and one.
How is she able to get that in? She got knocked from the front and behind, still has the body control to hang and get the shot in. You can see she gets knocked a little bit from behind, and just the strength that Caitlin Clark has developed over the last couple of years. You know, each part of her game has improved. She's been fantastic throughout. But as she gets stronger, upper body wise, she can take those hits and still score through the contact. And, you know, just add to the list of things Caitlin Clark does well.
A rare miss at the stripe for an 80% free throw shooter in Clark. Braun, quick shot, finally a rebound, an offensive rebound. Braun from deep, and Goodman has it.
An extra chance, good hustle on the offensive board, but you got to get back defensively.
That's a foul on Hire.
And that's how quickly Iowa strikes, Mike. They love to get out in transition. It is one of the hardest things to defend about this team because, right, you're looking around, where's Caitlin Clark? Where is she? Where's everybody else spotting up? And then somebody's running to the rim, and it's just so hard to get back in transition to slow them down.
We talked with Lisa Bluter. She talked about the value of their transition offense in this game. They really want to get the ball inside, try to get Minnesota to have to use their bench because she loves her depth this season, especially the way that depth has been growing even since October. You know, we were here on campus to broadcast the magical game at Kinnick Stadium, the crossover at Kinnick, and nobody knew Sharon Goodman would be this important to the team. That's just one example of how this squad's been growing the last couple months. Amaya Battle, very nice move in the paint for two.
And I think Dawn taking her out of the game, catching her breath, coming back in. Now she's on the court along with Sanders, and we thought we might see the two of them on the court. They don't usually play together, but in this matchup, Dawn thinks that will be helpful as that everybody's trying to help out on Caitlin Clark.
Fast-paced start to this game. Somehow we're in the final minute already of the first quarter. Dishes to Sanders with Clark on her. She'll fire. So many rebounds. Iowa's doubling up the Gophers on the boards already.
Yeah, Minnesota needed a little more patience that time. It was a nice kick out from Battle, a good ball reversal and attack on the opposite side, probably a better option.
Caitlin Clark with the clock winding down. Finds a wide open falter. Braun will hold the ball after a marvelous start for the home team. 25 points in the first quarter as the Hawkeyes, in front of a sellout crowd, off to a great start. Hawkeyes off to a great start in this 14th game of the season. And it's always important to watch the record book when Caitlin Clark is playing. Here's what we need. 3 more assists for her. She is in first place all-time in Iowa history. 6 more assists. She becomes the Big Ten career leader for assists. And just 2 more three-pointers moves her into 3rd place in the conference's history for made three-pointers.
Another day, another record.
Seriously. You can expect graphics like that on every network for every game she plays the entire rest of the year. Until she breaks every record. Hart inside, too short. Stuelke has the board.
Good defense by Stuelke. Just made that a difficult shot.
Look at Kate Martin run the floor and the feed from Clark.
And Kate Martin's going to run to the rim. Stuelke will run to the rim. And Caitlin Clark will find them if they're available. That's why they run so hard, because they know they'll get rewarded.
How hard is it to be that efficient in transition offense?
It's difficult when you aren't purposeful about it. They are very intentional about it, and they want to, like that, pass the ball up the floor, no dribbles, get it ahead, get the ball to the rim as quickly as possible, put the pressure on the defense to get back in the paint, and it opens everything else up.
Clark slipped a little bit, sensitive on her ankle as she walks back, but she's okay. It is a turnover.
So here's looking back. That pass ahead, one dribble from Clark, puts it ahead to Martin. Martin knows, if I'm not the one that get the rebound, I'm going to run ahead to the rim, be out in front of everybody. If you are a defensive player, you have got to sprint back and find the rim runner. Find Kate Martin in transition, or that's going to be an easy deuce.
Minnesota known for their defense, but so hard to shut down this Iowa offense. And there have been so many one-and-dones for the Gophers. It's rare they get a second opportunity like they do here with Braun chasing down the rebound. Great find to Hire underneath.
That's just extra effort by Mara Braun, showing she is so much more than a prolific scorer, which she is, but just a hustle play, aware, finds the open player into the basket.
Hire's first points of the game. Kate Martin's first miss of the game, but she'll head to the line.
And then, again, Iowa going to continue to attack with the ball, try to draw fouls. But watch the hustle play from Braun. Keeps the ball alive, gets her head up right away, finds under the basket. Mallory Hire was just lurking, and Mara Braun just made sure she was aware. She is such a basketball junkie. She said when we talked to her that she really started watching film when she was playing AAU and just consumes it all the time. Coach Plittlewhite talks about how if there's a basketball game on, she's watching, she's studying, she's learning. She just loves everything about the game.
You know, it was interesting. She said she loves watching Caitlin Clark.
That's right.
She loves just seeing what she does for the sport. It's fun for her to see someone who's so great at what she does.
And all that Caitlin Clark does for the game, and that's what Braun wants to be next.
That is the first three-pointer of the game for Minnesota. They missed their first 5 attempts.
And it's a big part of their game. They average over 8 three-pointers a game. Again, it took a little bit for them to settle in, but they finally have.
Stuelke on what was pretty good defense by Sophie Hart.
Again, points in the paint. 18 already for Iowa as they attack, and that's not something Minnesota typically gives up.
Abby Marshall is all over Mara Braun. Hire again from deep, and again it's good.
And you see this young team just kind of settling in right now. They're starting to gain some confidence. They had hustle plays that led to baskets. You're starting to see them say, okay, all right, we can do this. We've been playing great. We're coming in on an 8-game winning streak. We know we're a good team. We just have to play strong here.
Martin with a nice answer inside for Iowa.
But Minnesota has to find a way to not allow Iowa to just attack the paint like this. Too many high-percentage shots for the Hawkeyes.
Caitlin Clark is sitting out right now, ready to check back in. Mallory Hire has the hot hand for the Gophers. They feed Hart. Pounding in on Stuelke, who falls down. Shot offline. Rebound to Martin. Molly Davis out to a Fulter. All alone from deep.
Good help defense that time to not allow the easy basket in the paint. You're taking your chance, leaving the open three-point shooter.
Hart, and another missed shot inside for the Gophers. If they're going to upset the number 4 team in the country, you can't afford 4 feet and in misses.
And Sophie Hart is shooting 69% from the field coming into this game on their win streak.
There's Hannah Stuelke continuing her great season. Averaged 6 points a game last year. She's averaging 13 points a game this year.
22 points in the paint for Iowa already here in the first half.
Exactly what Lisa Luder wanted to do. Meanwhile, Battle with a nice layup, and she's going to go to the line to make it a 3-point play.
And that's the kind of player Amaya Battle is, the 5'11 sophomore out of Hopkins, Minnesota. Early in this game was too hesitant. Don Plittlewhite took her out of the game to catch her breath. She's come back in. She's been more aggressive. She is good with the ball, makes good decisions with the ball in her hand, and gets a chance to go to the free throw line here.
Battle been great at dishing the ball. She had 18 assists combined the last 2 games. She's got a couple here. go along with 5 points. And Clark checks back into the game and has the ball. Immediate feed to Goodman. No, but she'll draw a whistle. And now we're starting to see that macro thing that Lisa Bluter was trying to do, which is to get the opponents in foul trouble. Hey, tomorrow make sure you close out the year with a great women's hoops doubleheader. First, 16th ranked Indiana hosts Illinois. Then Maryland faces Nebraska. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. As we are starting to get into the heart of Big Ten conference season, which is just going to be a blast the next few months.
And Michigan already knocks off Ohio State earlier today.
How about that?
And then we've got that Maryland-Nebraska game. I'm driving over to Lincoln for that game tomorrow. And now that we're through the holiday break, and I know we already had one early Big Ten game, but now is really the official start. It's really going to be fun to see how teams stack up against one another.
Holloway falls down. There is a whistle. It'll be on the Hawkeyes, and the fans disagree. By the way, speaking of Ohio State, did you see yesterday? They got the number 3 prospect in the country to commit to play for OSU next year.
This conference is continuing to get tougher and tougher. And with Minnesota with the ball, they are tied with Wisconsin as the youngest team in this conference. There are so many veterans throughout the conference, and it makes it so tough for a team like Minnesota. They're coming in here just as a measuring stick game, but it's so hard against all the experience.
Abby Marshall pokes the ball away. It leads to Clark rattling out a 3. And the ball is off of, I think you're going to say it's off Minnesota. It'll stay with Iowa.
Mara Braun came flying to try to deflect the shot of Caitlin, and yeah, she got a foot on it as everybody was falling to the floor, but good hustle plays.
Clark with the step back 3.
Yeah,
impossible to guard.
Yeah, and that was an interesting matchup. Ayanna Johnson, just a freshman, who is an incredible athlete, played 5 sports in high school, gets her first check of Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin just steps back for the 3.
Out to Grahalski, who hasn't scored yet today.
Caitlin Clark already with 15 points in the early going. 3 3-pointers. Minnesota's thrown a lot of different defenders at her, but she knows what to do. Just step away, create.
Basketball on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. 15-point lead for the Hawkeyes here, and one of the reasons why is when they get shots within 4.5 feet from the rim, they're not missing.
They attack. They, on the season, are shooting 71% when they get around the rim. Minnesota typically pretty good defense, even that close to the basket. But today, 10 of 11, Iowa is on layups. And that's because they've been very deliberate at getting into the paint. That was the game plan. They have executed it well, and they've finished.
Martin gets another bucket. She's now up to double digits. No surprise for Kate Martin. That's just what she does. Now 9 of her last 10 games, she's scored 10 points or more.
Yeah, she's so consistent. Just the glue of this team, the veteran, just steady in every way.
Larry Hire with a step back. Clark with the rebound. Kate Martin offline with the 3. Braun with the board. She'll fire. Feuerbach has it. Way out ahead is Caitlin Clark.
Would you have been surprised if she would have just reached up and dunked that?
No.
It kind of felt like that was going to happen there.
It had that Jordan-esque feel of everybody bracing for something.
Kate Martin did not have a good game when this team lost to Kansas State earlier this year. Did not make a basket. Since then, though, has been highly, highly efficient. You see her numbers, 58% from the floor, 48% from three-point range. Averaging, gets a little laugh from Coach Bluter, a little bit off on that last three-pointer, but everything else she's done today has been magnificent.
Lisa Bluter talked about how she started to see that confidence and the ability to be in control in Kate Martin over the summer. And she told me the last time I talked with her that within the last few weeks, WNBA teams have been starting to reach out just to specifically talk about Martin.
Right, because she has a WNBA-type body, and she's a very versatile player and strong inside-outside scorer, rebounder, defender, all those things, and WNBA coaches are taking notice.
So many one-and-dones for the Gophers. Clark to Stuelke for two. And a timeout for the Gophers.
Too many easy shots in the paint. Minnesota does not typically do that, but Iowa knows how to find the creases in the defense.
9 unanswered points for the Hawkeyes. One of the reasons why is number 20, Kate Martin, doing what she's been doing for the last 6 or 7 weeks.
Staying steady, being available, making extra opportunities, running to the rim, getting out in front of everybody, being there, doing her job, and an excellent ball handler as well, making sure she knows what's going on around her and contributing to the team as a leader in so many ways. And she is such a compliment to what Caitlin Clark does. Everybody around Clark doing their job makes this Iowa team so much more difficult to defend.
Battle inside for two, and what happened the last time Iowa scored, it was an assist from Caitlin Clark. That makes her the all-time leader in program history for assists. And as I'm talking, she adds another one.
Setting up her teammates, so unselfish. She draws so much attention. When you're averaging over 30 points a game and one of the best in assists in the country, and now in program history, just remarkable. Watch it as she dribbles in and just sizes up the defense, draws a couple of defenders. She draws two. Somebody's open. Going to find the open player.
Just to be clear, she already was the all-time leading scorer in Iowa history. She is now the all-time leader in assists in Iowa history as well.
I mean, that combination, that's just remarkable and shows how much she influences, impacts every aspect of the success for Iowa.
Braun hits a couple of free throws. Stuelke running the court, can't finish, and a turnover. Braun, nice job by Hart running.
Good recognition again by Braun. That time she's stopped by the defender, has her eyes up, ready to make the pass.
Clark tried one of those logo threes, a rare miss. And again, Gophers are running. Grachalski with Clark on her, and the rebound is grabbed by both Higher and a Falter. It's a tie-up. We'll go the other way.
Grachalski, just a freshman, has not scored yet for Minnesota. She had an opportunity there, had Caitlin Clark buried under the basket, just wasn't as aggressive as she should have been. And, you know, that's one of those situations where this freshman has been starting for Minnesota. She's done terrific things for them this year, averaging double digits, but just hasn't quite got going in this game.
Battle turning defense into offense in a heartbeat.
And that's what Battle has done and will continue to do. And, you know, especially when she is out on the point guard, when she's out on Caitlin Clark, she's going to put some pressure on the ball. She knows she needs to be out here and not give Clark any space.
Braun guarding Clark, the top two scorers in the league facing each other. Gabby Marshall, a three. And Battle loses it out of bounds. Kate Martin checking back into the game. Kylie Feuerback will get a breather.
You know, this is a Minnesota team that challenged itself early, hosted Connecticut, bringing Paige Beckers back to Minneapolis, and had a struggle in that game. Just actually played well in the first half, but got away from them. But they've challenged themselves, and they've played well in non-conference play. Got a Big Ten win over Purdue earlier this year.
7th turnover this first half by the Hawkeyes. And a rebound gives Minnesota a second chance with the shot clock in single digits. Clark gets a piece of the ball, and Stuelke has it. A falter, a strong drive, loses control and gets the whistle. Now we got about 46 seconds left in this game, but when it's done, stay right here. Pardon me, in this half, I should say, because it's the All-State Halftime Report. Justine and Autumn are going to break down the first half and get you ready for a busy day of women's hoops. It's all coming up in the All-State Halftime Report from Chicago in just a couple of moments. Falter hits the free throw. 3 for 3 from the stripe in this first half.
She's coming off a game against Loyola Chicago where 10 points and 7 rebounds. She's a tough rebounder, over 5 rebounds 7 times this year already. She just contributes in so many different ways, and such a solid contributor off the bench for Iowa.
Gabby Marshall bats the ball away. You know, Marshall has not put up the offensive numbers that she wants or Iowa wants, but when you talk to Lisa Bluter, the first thing she will say is her defense has been elite all season long. That's what people need to talk about when they look at her and see her numbers.
Absolutely, and she didn't play in the last game, and the defense for Iowa suffered because she really sets the tone defensively for them.
She was out sick 9 days ago when they took down Loyola of Chicago. Shot clock at 4. Grahulski with Clark on her. Loses it out of bounds, and the Hawkeyes can hold for the last possession of the half.
Clark just used her quick hands there. Didn't let Grahulski get any kind of look at the basket. The crafty veteran making sure the freshman didn't get an easy score.
Battle on Clark. 6 seconds. What a pass from Clark. Martin on the drive. It will end like that in a nearly perfect first half for the home team. They got the ball inside. They dominated on the boards. Their star, Caitlin Clark, has 17 points, and they lead 49-31 at the half. We'll take a short break. When we come back, Autumn and Justine have the halftime report for you from Chicago. 49-31, Hawkeyes with the lead. It has been a team effort for the Iowa Hawkeyes, in particular Kate Martin and Hannah Stuelke, as Iowa leads 49-31, and we're about to start the third quarter. But look at what they've done in the first half. 21 points combined, 11 field goal attempts, only 2 misses.
Right. Hannah Stuelke hasn't missed a shot, and the two of them have just done exactly what Lisa Bluter wanted this team to do and attack the basket.
Right. We came into this game talking about how great the defense is for Minnesota. Maybe we didn't give enough credit to the defense for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes have been good as well, really taking this young Minnesota team out of its rhythm. They've held Braun to just 6 points in the first half, but they've been in attack mode on the other end. And when you've got a team back on their heels trying to stop you in transition, the way the Minnesota's trying to do that against Iowa, Iowa going to have a lot of success the way they're in attack mode.
Stuelke and Martin in double-digit points. It's something they've really collectively been doing ever since the Kansas State loss earlier this year.
Exactly. And Stuelke, had that injury, and she's been playing so well the last 3 games that she has been back down the 4th game. And just attacking with the ball in her hand, hasn't missed a shot. And Kate Martin so good at running the floor, getting out in front of everybody, scoring in transition. Also just taking her time, looking to see if somebody's available to kick out to if she's double teamed. If not, one-on-one, she goes to the basket, makes great decisions with the ball.
Iowa scored 49 points in the first half against a Gopher defense that only gives up 54 per game on the season. Offensive rebound for Minnesota. Mara Braun will pull up. And Martin with the board. Really haven't felt Mara Braun's found her rhythm in this game just yet.
No, she hasn't hit a three-pointer yet, and most every look at a mid-range jumper has been contested by the Iowa defense.
Clark will fire from deep. That's her 4th three-pointer. She is now 3rd in Big Ten history in made three-pointers in a career.
You just can't allow her any kind of space. She creates her own so well, but the quick passing set that up.
Inside, curls in a layup.
And Hart is a transfer from NC State that didn't play a lot in her first couple of years. So she is really new to this level as well. And I think she is going to help Minnesota throughout the season.
Stolke can't finish on the great feed from Clark. You think positives you can take away from Minnesota's first half? One, they did force turnovers, 7 turnovers on the Hawkeyes. 2, they completely avoided foul trouble. I mean, no one on the team has multiple fouls on them as Hart gets another basket. That's back-to-back possessions. Maybe they can find some scoring from Hart and Gracholski, which they didn't get enough of in the first half. Caitlin Clark, another three-pointer. She's got 5 today.
Just toying with the defense now.
.23 points for Clark. You mentioned it. You can't give her any space. When you think you're not giving her space, that's still too much space.
Well, and just the quick crossover, right? She gets the freshman backpedaling, just leaves her in her shoes, and just creates that space. The last time Clark hit the 3, it was a quick in and out movement with the basketball, and Clark has such a quick release with the ball. That time, with the ball in her hands, we've seen it over and over throughout her career. Just that quick little side step back, creates herself some space. Too easy. So
Bluter upset with something around that call.
I believe the call was on Stolke, but Stolke went to the floor. It looked like it may have been on Hart, but instead the call was on Stolke.
Away. And I tell you what, Minnesota has gone inside early on in the first 2 minutes of this third quarter.
Yeah, they've been very deliberate about going inside to Hart. That time, the nice inbounds play.
Has to flex out. Clark has it. A logo 3 for the Unicorn!
There should be no hesitation about challenging that shot. You know there is no question in Caitlin Clark's mind that she will rise up and hit that shot.
6 3-pointers for Caitlin Clark, including 3 in the first 2.5 minutes of this half. Gracholski unloads. Holloway keeps it alive.
Holloway, another one of those young players, redshirt freshman.
Finally a basket for Gracholski, her first points of the day. And Clark tries an immediate answer. Battle with the long rebound. Gracholski. Holloway. At least they are getting boards. The putbacks aren't necessarily going in, but they're getting rebounds that they weren't getting in that first half.
Yeah, and Minnesota is tied with Iowa 9-9 here in this quarter. But, yeah, the step back, you can't give any space to Caitlin Clark. When you watch her come, if you get a chance in all these sold-out games that Iowa's playing to come early, Caitlin will go around and practice right at the three-point line, and then she will practice 4 and 5 and 6 feet beyond and go all the way around. So it is deliberate. She works at it. That's why she is the best at what she does, because she continues to work at her craft. And, there's no hesitation. There's no one more confident from that far away from the basket than Caitlin Clark.
She's doing pregame. I mean, she does practice from there.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And she has 5 people around, rebounding and passing her the ball. I'm like, you only need one person. She's making all of them.
Molly Davis with a marvelous pass to Martin.
Again, Martin, so good at getting up the floor. She knows her assignment, and she does it well.
Battle finds Braun, drawing a whistle.
Iowa pushing ahead. Off the screen, see, Kate Martin sets a screen and just a little hedge outside. She slips the screen inside. Good awareness by Martin to see what her defender is doing, Holloway, but also a great pass to get it to her.
Braun hits the free throw. She's the best free throw shooter in the country. 94% from the stripe. Braun has only missed 2 free throws all season long.
She's the last year as a freshman, of course, made the all Big Ten freshman team, but the first true freshman to lead Minnesota in points since Rachel Banham. And now Banham back on the bench, helping her out and inspiring her and the rest of this team.
fact, they used Bannon in a fascinating way to prepare for this game. She was the scout performer wearing 22, acting as if she was Caitlin Clark. And if you want a scout player to somehow mimic Caitlin Clark, that's about as good as you can possibly get, having Rachel Bannon.
Yeah, she was. Coach Plitzelwhite was talking to us about how Bannon was hitting all the shots that Caitlin Clark hits. As she is such an inspiration. What she did as a player at Minnesota, what she's doing in the WNBA as well, and she really is an inspiration to all the young players on this team.
Clark splits the free throws. "27 points already for Caitlin Clark. She has scored 20 or more every single game this season. Battle on the drive.
Look at Gabby Marshall, just all over Braun, making it very difficult.
Need to step into that shot. Ball batted around. Sharon Goodman has it. Clark loses it. Battle loses it. Krahalski loses it. Clark to Goodman, and a whistle inside on Hart. Nobody wanted to hold on to the ball for a few seconds there. Falter and Feuerbach going to check in. You know, there did feel in these first 5 minutes of the third quarter like Minnesota had moments of a rhythm, offensively and defensively, that we didn't see much of in the first half.
Right, and they just played hesitant in a lot of ways and thinking too much in the first half. And Iowa played good defense and took away what they really like to do. And Gabby Marshall is playing good defense on Mara Braun as well. So all of those things coming together, and Don Plitzelwhite has an opportunity to take them to the halftime locker room and go in and really focus on things. And they've been very deliberate about getting the ball to the paint and getting high percentage shots here in the third quarter.
Foul call is on Feuerbach. She's got 3 fouls. Holloway, the only one with 3 on Minnesota. Battle finds 2, a long 2, and she's in double figures. Iowa's won 8 straight in this series against Minnesota. Clark splitting defenders, finds the open Feuerbach. Freshman Graholski with the board.
You know, at this point with Minnesota, you want to find the small victories in this game. You want to try to do what you can to outscore Iowa in this quarter. And they have continued to stick to their game plan, go take the ball inside and get high percentage shots.
Done a great job trying to even out the points in the paint battle right now. Timeout Hawkeyes. Their lead is at 17. Alumni Day here in Carver Hawkeye, meeting some of the greats to play for Iowa are on hand. That means Samantha Logic has an opportunity to see her record go away. Which happened earlier today as Caitlin Clark moved into the sole possession of first place for most assists in an Iowa Hawkeye career. She needs 3 more to move into first place in a Big Ten all-time career. And oh, by the way, a couple more three-pointers. She'll be now in second place for most three-pointers made in a career. Just 3 more threes to get to that mark.
And all the things that you admire about Caitlin Clark and what she's done in her career, one thing that I really appreciate is how well she knows the history of the game. And she came in knowing all about Sam Logic and looking up to her, and the fact that she has now surpassed her assist record, I know is meaningful to Caitlin Clark because it's something that she has respected this program. She has known about Sam Logic and the history of Iowa women's basketball as she grew up in this state. And, it's a big deal for her to eclipse that milestone.
Tremendous feed from Clark. That's her 6th assist of the day. Battle will fire from deep. That's a turnover. Just the 5th of the day on Minnesota.
Yep.
Now Caitlin Clark, by the way, 3,000 points, 900 assists, 800 rebounds. First college basketball player ever to have those numbers.
Incredible. Just incredible as the numbers continue to rise in everything that she accomplishes. And if you just tune in for the logo threes, that's a pretty special thing, but it's all the things that she does.
We are watching one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
It's Caitlin Clark's world, and we're all just living in it.
She hits a three. She gets a rebound. She feeds an assist. There's nothing Caitlin Clark can't do.
And everybody that isn't wearing a Minnesota uniform stands up in this crowd to appreciate what we are watching today. Caitlin Clark, the three-point shots, the passing, moving up and making history here today. Climbing that three-point ranking, burying the threes one after another, and then off 2-3 dribbles, the pass ahead to Stuelke, continuing on her legacy as the all-time leader in assists.
An update on the Unicorn. No one in the history of Big Ten women's basketball has more assists than Caitlin Clark. She is now tied with Sammy Prehalis with 901.
With a beautiful pass to Hannah Stuelke in transition. And then, oh, by the way, also averaging over 30 points a game. Only one player recently has those kind of numbers, and she's a pretty good company. And nobody in the last 25 years in men's or women's basketball has more 30-point games than Caitlin Clark.
Today, she has just added her 7th 30-point game of the season. You just have to realize how lucky we are to be able to watch someone. I've given the analogy before. It's like seeing Wayne Gretzky in 1980. It's like watching Steph Curry at Davidson. Like, you are seeing something we've never seen happen before in this particular sport.
And she just continues to make her team better, too. And she's so fun to watch. Just her individuality, but what she does for this team. I mean, that when you look at that assist record, pretty remarkable.
Offensive foul on Hart. That's the 3rd on her.
And when you look at the success and the possibilities for this Iowa team, making it all the way to the national championship game last year, they know what's possible. They know what's reachable with this team. And we talked to Lisa Bluter about that. She said, it's always a dream, but when you finally accomplish that and get to that game, we know it's accessible, and we know what we need to do in these games. And that's why the play of Hannah Stuelke is so important. What she does inside, both defensively and offensively, what Kate Martin does, what Gabby Marshall does defensively to shut down a scorer like Mara Braun. So when you look at Stuelke's numbers the last 3 games leading into this game, she came off that injury, and she's averaging that kind of efficiency, those type of numbers, and that's what makes this team so difficult, one of the best in the country, because it's not just only about Caitlin Clark. It's a lot about Caitlin Clark, but it's all the pieces around that makes this team so difficult to defend and to beat.
There were questions coming in. Who would replace McKenna Brown? Who would replace Monica Sinano? And all along, Iowa has said it will not be one person. It will not be 2 people. You can't try to be what those 2 people were to this program. They just got to be themselves. As the year goes by, we see the confidence continue to grow in both of them. Meanwhile, both teams are in the bonus here with 2.5 minutes to play in the 3rd. And we also had the 4th foul picked up by Sophie Hart. So there's a little bit of foul trouble starting to brew, which, as we mentioned, was the plan for Lisa Bluter and company from the get-go.
And Amaya Battle has been really tough all game for Minnesota. She had a bit of a slow start, knowing that she's defending Caitlin Clark a lot of this game, not the entire game, but she was a little hesitant early offensively, but she has come through. You see the hustle play. These are a lot of sophomores and freshmen for Minnesota that are being tested to their limit, and they are learning with each play and setting themselves up because they want to rise up the Big Ten ranks. They want to get to the NCAA tournament. What a tough test, to come out your first road game in Big Ten play and have to come here to Iowa to play.
Impressive sequence from Battle. Defensively, scores offensively, guarding Clark right when she comes back down the court. .20 lead for the Hawkeyes. Sold out crowd once again here at Carver Hawkeye. Clark creating space and scoring. Caitlin Clark's 8th three-pointer today.
Unbelievable. Just so smooth, so confident. And Battle is even there getting a hand up.
There's no such thing as defending her.
No.
It doesn't matter what you do. Kate Martin with the steal. Clark again. Nothing but net in the wrong way.
So
Rarity.
Rare. So rare. But watch as she has Battle down in defensive stance. Just gets her to step back just a minute, just a moment, just to clear that space.
One. Having a tough day offensively. Clark sees Feuerbach all alone. The ball kept alive. Another feed inside, and Stokey finishes! Clark's 8th assist, and the Big Ten all-time assist record is hers and hers alone!
Always with the head up, zips it underneath. That is not an easy pass. Stokey has her pinned. Beautiful delivery by Clark to set up the shot.
Under 40 seconds to play in the third. Feuerbach, what a drive!
Iowa's mentality all game long has been to get to the paint, and they have been very successful.
Swatted away by Clark. Battle with the steal. Higher hit a couple of those early in the game. And that is how the third quarter will come to a close. The number 4 team in the country scores the last 7 points of the quarter, continues to stretch their lead, but the story once again, history made in Iowa City as Caitlin Clark, now the greatest passer in the history of Big Ten women's basketball. They acknowledged Caitlin Clark's latest amazing moment. She becomes the all-time leader in the history of the conference for assists, and her dad watching it and hearing 14,998 Hawkeye fans cheer in support of his daughter. And by the way, this is kind of Jersey week. When you're a kid, you get to bring the jersey you got from Santa to the game. And if you look across the country at social media, a ton of kids got Iowa 22 jerseys.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch on social media. All of the kids reacting to getting Caitlin Clark jerseys over for Christmas and the holidays. And who wouldn't want a Caitlin Clark jersey, right? And just what we are seeing on display in her career today and every day she gets out on the court, so special.
It would have been her 9th three-pointer if it went down. Holloway. And that's a foul on Clark. Remember, the last time Caitlin played, she had a triple-double. 35-10 and a career-high 17 rebounds in the last game they played. Wednesday, you can stream women's hoops live on Big Ten Plus. When these Gophers are back home for a matchup with Maryland, there's no plus like home. Download Big Ten Plus and subscribe today. That is the next time Minnesota will take the court. No good. Janae Sanders. Minnesota came in. Incredible defense, giving up only 54 points a game, which is best in the conference, but they hadn't quite faced an Iowa team like this yet this season. Only met once last year. Iowa won 87-64. That's an offensive foul call, and no one in this building agrees with it. In that meeting last year, by the way, that was here at Carver Hawkeye, Clark was 1 assist shy of a triple-double. 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Yeah, and I was on the call of that game, and she had an assist that the shot didn't go in that would have given her a triple-double toward the end of the game.
13 triple-doubles in her career. I like to say it's 14 because I'm counting the crossover at Kinnick. Technically, that was an exhibition, but still.
Well, what a special event that was. And
magical. It was incredible.
And to benefit the Stead Family Children's Hospital, just such a remarkable event all the way around, from the fans to what it was all about.
Guys force another turnover, and there's a whistle. Right at half court. Sanders disagrees. But 2 different officials made that call. That crossover at Kinnick we're talking about. An exhibition against DePaul held outside of the football stadium. 55,646 fans showed up, breaking the all-time record. It's really a poor way of phrasing it. Shattering the all-time record.
Right. And just it's a special time to celebrate all that's going on with women's basketball across the country, within this conference, within this program, and just celebrating all the positive things that are going on right now in women's basketball.
What a play by Stuelke. 19 points for the sophomore.
And the smile. I mean, that is a really nice fake and drive to the basket.
The last 4 games Stuelke has played, counting this one, she's averaged 19 points a contest.
As she's come back from the injury and just become more and more comfortable, you know, she was playing the 4 position at the beginning of the year, and they have primarily gone with her at the 5 because she's been so efficient, but also so that they can, get the rotations that they wanted on the court with Sydney Falter coming in, Feuerbach coming in, and she just embraced that role, Hannah Stuelke, in being the 5 position and using her athleticism and doing all she can around the rim.
Stuelke only 6'2", but yeah, they just like her ability to play that 5. It just fits with the overall feel of where this team can be at its best.
That's right. Because they don't have Monica Sonano to dump the ball in and go to every time like they don't have Megan Gustafson like they have over this last stretch. And so now this team looks a little bit different with Stuelke in that 5 position, and they're faster getting up and down the court, a lot of baskets in transition, and she's really coming into her own.
You know what's interesting too about her being only 6'2" but playing the 5? Caitlin Clark told me that over the summer she told Stuelke to watch video of Draymond Green playing the 5 because that's someone who isn't the tallest person, but he knows footwork, he knows positioning, and he brought value at that spot.
And it's because Caitlin Clark is such a student of the game to be able to offer that kind of advice and mentoring.
Mara Braun.
Braun finally in double figures as it's been tough. Gabby Marshall has been doing a terrific job making it difficult for her.
Addie O'Grady on the scoreboard. Her first points of the day.
And she can continue to stay active, and Goodman as well, spelling Stuelke inside, just giving more weapons.
Assist number 9 on the day for Clark. Over by the Gophers. Bounce pass by Clark. Another one by Martin. And the finish inside by O'Grady.
Clark didn't get the assist for that, but she got the assist to the assist, right?
The hockey assist.
A beautiful pass by Martin.
It is crystal clear what a well-rounded offense they have here in Iowa City. The obvious ringleader with the ball in her hands, but still. Give and go with Martin.
Clark has the ball in her hands so much, but when she releases and moves without the basketball, it means she's impossible to track down.
Rescue with an air ball, saved by Hire. Braun, a beautiful bounce pass.
Yeah, Minnesota continues to attack and try to get some positive things out of this. As we mentioned, this is the first game. This is a tough first road trip in Big Ten play, and so just to keep battling and to find the positives here early, it's a long season ahead.
Only the second game all year for Minnesota away from home. The other one was on the road against Kentucky. But geez, this offense, they can go from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat.
The backdoor cut, the extra pass by Kate Martin, and then watch how Clark gives it up, and then immediately the give and go to set it up. Got her foot around, recognizing the defensive matchup, darts to the rim.
That relationship between those two, Martin and Clark, they're the closest friends on this team. They have been for years. You can see they speak the same language just with their eyes. They know what they're doing. Foul on Molly Davis. That's her fourth person.
And Braun continues to battle, puts the ball on the floor, no help defense, rotates over, does a nice job of using her body because she has been defended well by both Molly Davis and Gabby Marshall today. But she is a tough-minded scorer and still continuing to battle to do what she can as this team tries to build its confidence.
It's amazing that we haven't called a three-pointer made by Braun all day. Only 3 players in the country have more made three-pointers than Mara Braun, but she's 0 for 4 from deep as they go inside to get 2 points on that possession.
That's Iowa knowing the scouting report. Every time Braun has caught it, they have been there on the catch, and every time there's been a ball screen for her, there's been help to not allow her to have an easy look.
Davis with a runner and a whistle. Minnesota scored 7 unanswered points here. Still down by 25. And Davis is at the line. Davis wearing that headband. It's the same headband she's had since her high school sophomore year. When it gets loose, she goes to her dad. Her dad tightens it. She wants it to be black. She changes colors. Usually it's white, but she has never played a game without that headband dating back to her sophomore year in high school.
That's awesome.
Salon Davis. And that will be 5, and Molly Davis's day has come to a close. Feuerbach comes in for her, and a round of applause for the 5th-year senior. So what can Minnesota learn from this? What can they take? This is a team that, again, look at their record in the bottom left. They're 11-1 on the season. They have already tied last year's win total. They tied it before Christmas. This is a new regime with a new head coach. What can you learn from a game like this in a tough environment?
Well, you can check off the fact that you don't have to go to the number 4 team in the country on their home court anymore this year, right? I mean, what a tough start on the road. But when they went to the paint, when they got the ball inside, they had some success. Hart misses there. But they've struggled to find their three-point range in this game, and part of it, they are running a new motion offense under Don Plitzelwhite to read and react and still finding ways to get creative against Big Ten level defenses. It's going to be important for them to do, and I think they can go away and learn a lot from this game.
You know, the last 2 possessions, they've had chances
Right.
of close-range shots, and they miss, and that's kind of a microcosm of what we see. We saw that a lot in the first quarter, which got them into that deficit early.
Yeah, they had a hard time getting into a rhythm early. They were hesitant on some of their shots. Look at the jump out. Braun, every time there's a ball screen, they're jumping out on her to make it difficult for her to get any kind of threes. Just have had a hard time finding rhythm offensively.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark officially has a double-double. That's her 10th assist, the one we're showing right here.
The all-time leader in Big Ten history in assists with another out in front. Iowa big.
Justine, thanks. Looking forward to it. Basketball on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. It has been all Iowa here, and that's no surprise because Caitlin Clark has been incredible against the Gophers. Look at the last time they met up last season. She was 1 assist away from a triple-double. Today, with 4 minutes and 19 seconds left, she's 5 rebounds away from a triple-double. She came into the day averaging 31 points a game against Minnesota all-time in 5 meetings, which includes a 37-point performance back in 2021 and a triple-double January of 2 years ago. She is on the bench right now with a stat line of 35, 10, and 5.
And it started from the beginning, her efficiency in getting the ball into the paint. She was the driver of the game plan. We talked to Lisa Bluter today. Lisa said, we want to attack the paint. The first basket of the game, Clark is driving into the paint. So executing and being the leader in making sure the game plan happens the way that Lisa Bluter wanted, and that's really what set the tone for Iowa in this game. Minnesota typically keeps teams out of the paint pretty well, but Iowa just attacked and made it difficult. And then the efficiency of Hannah Stuelke and Kate Martin,
right.
the way they shot today to complement what Caitlin Clark has been doing has just made it those three really leading the way today.
The first few minutes of action kind of showed us what this game would be as Iowa made 6 of their first 7 field goals. Minnesota missed 5 of their first 6 attempts. An uphill battle for Minnesota ever since then. Taylor McCabe into the game. She just scored a couple points at the free throw line. She hadn't scored the last 2 outings. Had 18 points against Florida Gulf Coast. Has not been able to quite find the offense. Again, doesn't get a ton of playing time. About 11 minutes of contest this year. Grace Grahalski is a player that we didn't get to call her name as much as I think we thought we would and we were hopeful to. She's had a really impressive freshman season for Minnesota.
And as much as you will hear her name throughout Big Ten play, she will definitely continue to make an impact on this team. But just a playmaker, a tough player for Minnesota.
Sanders inside for 2.
Sanders, the transfer from App State, going to add a lot from the bench as well.
That is the 11th three-pointer made today by the Iowa Hawkeyes. First for Taylor McCabe.
And people may be wondering where Maggie Sonano is for Minnesota, the younger sister of Monica, plays for Minnesota and was so looking forward to coming here and playing and has an ankle injury that she is dealing with, so is not available, has not been available for this game. We saw her out in warm-ups a little bit, thought she may get out there, but have not seen her in this game.
Bummer for her, obviously, with the family ties here. She wanted to be able to play. Had a great game the last time that they were on the court, but she got dinged up in practice this week, and we were told she was questionable to play, knowing it was enough of an injury she couldn't get out there. Sanders again.
So if you're Minnesota, you realize that this is a marathon, not a sprint, that there is a lot to learn from this situation, and you go back home and try to collect and just learn from this and grow. But the Big Ten is a gauntlet, and it's going to be night in and night out these amazing challenges for such a young team.
Right. You can still be a very good team and happen to lose to this team in this environment by this manner. That's not necessarily a sign of a team that couldn't be an NCAA tournament squad. Denise Johnson, the freshman with the ball. Approaching the final minute of the game here in Iowa City. Johnson gets bumped. Minnesota, we mentioned, has a game coming up Wednesday against Maryland. And next Tuesday, they're on the road against Michigan. A big one 2 weeks away against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. We are officially entering the heart of Big Ten play. There you see it. That is not an easy slate of games, so they are going to be challenged. Johnson, the freshman from Illinois, hits the first free throw. Just her 10th game she's played this year. And the officials are checking something. Here comes her second one.
Nobody's leaving.
Yeah. Almost 15,000 fans in the sellout crowd. I got to the arena, as you did, about 2 hours before, and there was a line of cars stretching about 30, 40 deep just to get into one parking lot. As I walked into the building in the media entranceway, you saw the entryway was already jammed 2 hours before tip-off with a line of people outside multiple doors. That's just what it is right now around this program.
You know, and all the students at the University of Iowa are home on holiday break. So, you know, these are all the kids that are in high school or elementary school on holiday break and coming in here and just enjoying this and enjoying everything about this experience. We showed earlier, and if you get a chance, man, check on social media, all of the kids that got Iowa gear, and a lot, too, that got Minnesota gear. You know, Mara Braun is much beloved in the state of Minnesota and is building what this Minnesota program is doing, but what Iowa is doing, and every jersey number 22 that came in a package this Christmas, pretty special.
That little munchkin that we saw earlier, or Jason Sudeikis, they're fans of 22 everywhere you look. Iowa's next schedule, they've got Michigan State on Tuesday, then Friday they go on the road against Rutgers, and they got Purdue on the road, Indiana, Wisconsin. They look for their 11th regular season championship in program history. Their 10th, of course, came this past season. Nice fourth quarter performance from Sanders, who's up to 9 points. $14,998 will serenade the Hawkeyes. For the 10th time this season, Iowa has won a game by 20 points or more. They are now 13-1 to start the year. And Caitlin Clark leads the way. 35 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds. This is now 3 consecutive games for Clark that she has scored 35 points or more. Her 7th 30-point performance of the season. And of course, most spectacularly, she breaks the all-time Big Ten career record for assists. The 8-game winning streak for Minnesota is snapped, while the Hawkeye winning streak clicks up to 10 in a row. And in this rivalry, it is now 9 wins consecutively for Iowa over Minnesota, dating all the way back to the 2018 Big Ten tournament. Clark has been incredible against Minnesota. Mentioned she had a triple-double in the past, almost had a triple-double last year in their last meeting. And in this game, amazing. 35 points, including 8 3-pointers. Brenda standing by with the Super